things to a lot of people in the 70s.
Huh.
I know what you're saying. You're thinking, you don't seem like you're old enough to be around in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Okay.
The thing is, they actually perfected cryogenics in about 1985.
Really?
So I was a teenager, in
Okay.
1985,
Alright.
and then I froze myself until 1997. Hey, folks, you're welcome to Brokey.
Yeah! I like that song.
We're live, and we are here
Yes.
to share a very special recipe indeed. Now,
That's right.
sometimes we show you things that are a little specific that you can do once or twice, maybe comfort food. Today we're dealing with a staple. If you learn how to make this well, you're going to be able to make like 9,000 different dishes well.
Exactly.
We are making Baroque Man's Marinara.
Nice. Now here's the thing with this marinara sauce. It's not going to look like your fancy ragu or prego, but it's homemade and it's going to be absolutely fucking delicious.
It's going to taste better than that stuff. Because
That's right.
unlike that stuff, which is designed to look nice on a store shelf, you're making stuff designed to be tasty in your mouth and yummy in your tummy.
And once you get this down, you can use it in a soup, on pizza, on pasta.
Make lasagna.
Yeah.
You can even use it in my special chicken pot, the recipe of which will be in the hand of my cookbook.
Alright, so let's get our ingredients together.
Surprise ingredient number 1 is tomato.
Yeah, who saw that?
For
coming?
tomato sauce. Amazing!
Exactly. After that, we're going to get some olive oil.
Oh. Olive oil!
Nicely done.
Yes. We put it in a shot glass. This is to show you don't really need a whole lot. This is mostly just to keep the bottom of your pan nice and lubricated to avoid the onion sticking or the garlic sticking, anything like that.
Exactly. Not to drink. We've had that happen once before.
Yeah, probably not to drink.
Yeah.
Next, onion!
Delicious onions.
This one's a little controversial. Some people say you're not supposed to put onion instead of tomato sauce. I've run into those sorts of heretics. Here's the thing, though.
Right.
Onion, 1, adds a lovely savory flavor, which I love.
Right.
And 2, onions are so cheap. If you throw in like 4 or 5 onions into a tomato sauce, you've just stretched your tomato sauce immeasurably for very little money.
You are too poor to be a purist. Throw in the onions.
Now, first off, garlic. That one's obvious. You should always put that in tomato sauce because you're a good person.
Exactly.
I would actually even, I feel like you can't put too much garlic in tomato sauce. Just go nuts.
Honestly, though, if you're doing anything Italian, you want to have a little garlic in there. What's wrong with you?
And then there's this.
Okay, so what you're doing here is you're going to put in a little bit of carrot. Now, this is important. You want to grate half of the carrot and leave the other half just whole. And we're going to explain what that's all about later on in the recipe.
I assume it's about doing something while you're waiting for the sauce to cook and not putting carrot in tomato sauce.
That's what's happening here, buddy.
I don't even know what to say to you.
Yeah.
Alright, finally, last, but definitely not least, you got your aromatic spices. Now, here's what we got. We've got some bay leaf, some rosemary, some thyme, some oregano.
What?
These are great. Get a little basil, toss that in too, but we don't.
And then, of course, the closer, your staples, salt and pepper.
If you have your salt and pepper and anything smaller than a tin like this, you are buying fancy people salt and pepper, and you should check yourself. All right.
You wreck yourself.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and take these onions and this oil and this garlic, and I'm going to go back over
the carrot, James.
And this carrot.
There you go.
Over to the back pot here. I'm going to start wilting these in the pot. Just set it on medium heat, medium low. You don't want to do it too hot.
Right.
You're not looking to caramelize. You're not looking to brown. You're just looking to wilt. So when they start getting a little yellow, a little translucent on the onions, you're pretty much there.
Now, while James is doing that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the tomato.
Shot glass of oil.
He's very excited about that shot glass.
Shot glass of oil.
So you can buy pre-chopped tomatoes, but honestly, it's a lot easier to just get the tomatoes and chop them yourself.
That's the wrong burner. I hit the wrong burner.
Okay, stop.
We're good. Teach them.
So, the only problem with using tomato in a tomato sauce is that you need to peel this motherfucker. So how do you peel a tomato? Allow me to show you. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make just a little bit of an X right here in the top of the tomato. You're not getting too deep. You just want to essentially score the skin just a little bit. So do that right there at the top, and then do that right here at the bottom too.
I'm putting the carrot in.
Thank you.
I'm still pretty sure you're not supposed to.
You definitely are supposed to. So once you have this set, what you're going to do is you're going to actually drop this into a pot of boiling water. Now you're not going to leave it in there for too long. You don't actually want to cook the tomato. You're just looking for it to start peeling a little bit. So let's get that done here. Here's our pot of boiling water. Excuse me, guys. And in goes our tomato.
Hey, didn't overflow.
I know.
I kind of thought that was a 50-50.
Angela, can you toss me that slotted spoon? Also, internet say
That's not a slotted spoon. Slotted spoon.
slotted.
Oh, okay, slotted spoon.
Also, internet
Ladle. Slotted spoon. You can tell from the slots.
I quit.
say hello to our camera person for the day. That's Angelique back there. What? So James is working on this. I'm waiting for this tomato to do the spang a little bit. Oh yeah. So talk about that onion a bit, James.
Alright, so now I'm just stirring the onion around. You want to give this a lot of love. Now, there's a couple of ways that people approach layering their flavors in tomato sauces. You can absolutely just leave it here, wilt your stuff, and then add the tomatoes and then add your spices later.
Right.
But I actually, little pro tip, I like to add a little bit of these aromatics right now. Because I like to work that flavor in all the way to the base of this, and this is when you're going to get it into the oil.
Alright, so on the tomato, you're going to notice now that the skin has started to split. So like I said, you don't want this to cook, so we're going to very quickly get this tomato off the heat, and then follow me over as I dump it into some ice water. And what that ice water is going to do is it's going to arrest the cooking and stop it from becoming essentially tomato mush. Yeah. So now that that is in the ice water, we have cooler tomato a little bit. We can take the tomato out, and the peel, if I did this correctly, should just peel right off. Look at that. Boom. And that, my friends, is how you peel a tomato. So I'm going to do this for a couple of seconds and then get to chopping. Check with James over at the stove while I take care of this business.
Oh, hey everybody. Hope you're having a good time. Did you enjoy Dr. Mark's boring tomato peeling lesson?
Hey!
Well, welcome back to Super Fun Time with James Ashby, King Kong of the kitchen, badass bakery.
I'm almost positive no one has ever called you that ever.
Badass bakeries. All right. So, as you'll see, I'm trying to keep this on a nice, low kind of simmer. I'm just looking to wilt these onions up a little bit. In fact, if you take a look, you'll see they're starting to yellow. That's not all because of the weird orange flavor from Mark's carrot business. So, while you were watching him peel tomatoes, I added some of our aromatics to this pot. Why do I do that before I add the tomato? Well, I'm trying to kind of synthesize and get all these flavors to mix together a little bit before we add all the tomato, so that when it combines with the tomato, it spreads nice and evenly. Also, just so that I know that it smells good. So, at this point, you want to start doing your tomato sauce is taking really deep breaths to kind of get a sense of the smell of it. After a while, you're actually going to want to take a step out of the kitchen so that your nose can kind of forget what it smells like, so you can get a good fresh scent as you go through the process. We're showing you one way to add these herbs right now. You can add them all at once, but really it works best if you add a little bit at a time and keep tasting. That's how your grandma did it. That's how everybody who isn't ragu does it. Trust me, it tastes better. That being said, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper right now. Don't be worried about adding salt. Salt is a very important part of tomato sauce.
Now if you come over here for a minute, what's going to happen here is I'm going to actually chop this tomato, get it diced pretty finely. But the thing with the tomato sauce is you want it to be like nice and smooth and all that junk, and these seeds are going to get in the way of that. So when you're doing a tomato sauce, you actually want to make sure that you de-seed your tomato. So you do that essentially just by getting in there and cutting right around the seeds. And as long as you do that, they'll come out nice and easy, and that leaves you with the skin to cut and dice. Now you don't have to throw this away if you don't want to. You can use it for other things. If you want to make a salsa, go ahead, do that.
You can snort it. You can snort it.
What did we say about snort? Do not snort tomatoes, unless you want a really good high. But do not snort tomatoes. But once you get rid of those seeds, start chopping that skin. and then we're going to throw that in there with whatever James is cooking up over there on the stove.
Oh, I think we're about ready. This is all nice and wilty.
All right.
I start to kind of take a look while Mark's finishing up his chop job. You'll see the onions all nice and they're turning. Nice and yellow. We've got some nice clarity coming up here. The carrot is totally wilted, and you'll see that the spices have been mixed and incorporated throughout and really soaked into that oil, which is how it's going to get into all of the sauce at once.
So now that that's ready, if you don't mind,
Yes, sir.
I am now going to throw in the tomatoes. Are you ready for this? That was Bach tomato sauce in C minor.
So now I'm just going to stir this all together until it's nicely blended. If you had anything else that you might want to add into this, if you had a little meat, this would not be the worst time necessarily.
Exactly.
You can spice this up if you find, I don't know, if you stab a guy and can afford capers, you can toss some capers in. Clamato olives are absolutely delicious. Just let your mind wander. Bell peppers, great. Mushrooms, great. It's really hard to go wrong. You can even do a nice vegetable medley. Do some zucchini, some squash, and really kind of extend how big the sauce is. But this nice basic sauce is going to be delicious on pasta and a great, great addition to any recipe.
Right, is there anything crazy you want to throw in? No?
I think we're good for today.
Okay.
So, at this point, we're going to let this cook
for how long?
2 to 3 hours.
What? That's a fucking long time!
Or more.
Yes! That's right! Shock!
But Mark, do we want to have a 2 to 3 hour live broadcast? No, mention that super fans, we do not.
I think the fans
want us to. We are going to do a little bit of magic. Are you ready to see what happens next? Well, after 2 to 3 hours, you will see that your sauce has become a bit darker, a little bit more blended together, beautiful, and you'll see this carrot here. This is the other part of the carrot. You remember when we said at the beginning that you shaved half the carrot and you kept the other half intact? This is the intact part that luckily we get to take out of the sauce now.
So here's the thing with that carrot. Why is the carrot in there, you might ask?
Because Mark doesn't like Italians?
Because during the course of cooking this for 2 to 3 hours, a lot of acidity is going to seep out of the tomato. You need something to soak that up, unless you like acid, iron-flavoring pasta sauce.
I mean, it depends, right?
So throwing the carrot is going to soak up a lot of that, and then you can take it out. Now, another thing you're going to notice is the consistency of this sauce.
Check that out.
During the course of the 2 or 3 hours, we mashed the shit out of those tomatoes. So while you're cooking, make sure to do that. And you can either use a potato masher if you're a fancy man pants and have that.
Or you can just use this plastic spoon you're using to stir.
Exactly.
Princess.
The back of a spoon takes care of the problem. And if you want a really thick sauce, you can also roll by the BJ's or the Costco, get yourself some tomato paste for $1.
Yep.
And mix that in there too.
Remember, tomato paste goes a long way, so in like a pot this size, you might add 1 tablespoon, and that'll really thicken it up. That's why it's such a cost-effective choice. Also, and we really want to reiterate this at this point, you see that we've made a very small pot of it here. That's great, and that's fine. But if you can get a larger pot, you could easily make 4 or 5 times this amount, freeze 4/5 of it, and have tomato sauce for months lined up. You'll actually find that there's a real economy of scale. You usually get a good price on sales for tomatoes and onions, that kind of thing. Also, of course, there's economy of scale with just your effort. If you only have to do this once every 3 or 4 months, you have a lot more time to, I don't know, masturbate yourself to sleep so you don't have to think about your day job. That's what I do.
I was going to go with Watch Adventure Time, but sure, that works too.
Masturbate while watching Adventure Time.
No, I didn't.
That's a little weird.
Alright, anyway, once you put in the chunk of carrot in here, it's going to cook for about 15 minutes. Once you do that, you're going to have your final pasta sauce. Are we going to sit here and wait for this to cook for about 15, 20 minutes?
I refuse to wait 15 minutes for a carrot to boil for me to enjoy Italian ecstasy.
So, we're going to do it immediately by taking it out of the magic porthole of awesome.
Is that what we're calling microwave? No, okay.
Hey!
So here's our final sauce. You'll see it's all nicely mashed. It's gooey. Now again, we said it doesn't look like your typical Trigall ragu. It's not that processed, but it is delicious and filling and satisfying the way those sauces will not be.
Exactly.
So, I think
It's eating time?
It's time for us to enjoy a delectable taste.
Oh, yes. I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab myself a spoon.
Wooden spoon, great choice for pasta sauces. It'll stay in the spoon, but like in a plastic one.
Right. So this is going to be amazing. You ready?
Yes, I am.
Bananas. Just roll with it. Oh, that's amazing. It is salty. The garlic has a nice flavor, but the thing with tomatoes is tomatoes are super sweet. And you notice we didn't actually add any sugar or some of that processed shit they throw in your prego or ragu. That is all natural sweetness right from the vegetable.
That's right. The carrot is the only sweetener in this, and I gotta tell you guys, this is actually the first time that I've gotten to taste the sauce today, and it is absolutely delicious. One of the things I really love with a sauce like this is when you cut things nice and chunky, because like you don't want to dice garlic. So take a look in there. Just take a look in there.
Yeah.
See those nice big hunks of garlic, those kind of chunks of onion that haven't quite melted yet. It adds this really lovely texture. It's nice. It's rich. It really fills and coats your mouth with flavor. And I gotta say, this is one of the best sauces I've had requested.
And the important thing is, as we keep harping on, you can use this for everything.
Literally, one of my favorite meals, and we're going to show you sometimes, chicken pot. That's literally this, some frozen chicken breasts and some frozen spinach, like 10 minutes, and you've got dinner. You didn't have to think about it even a little bit.
You want to make a pizza, get some dough, throw this on top. You want to make some pasta, make it, throw it on top.
You might reduce it a little bit for pizza so it's not too wet.
Okay, fine, yes.
But the theory is sound. The difference between pizza sauce and spaghetti sauce literally is cooking it down so that it is less moist and doesn't make the crust soggy.
Exactly.
So this is a totally valid pizza script.
This is so good, I'm going to go in for a second bite.
Do it. Do it.
Oh, yeah.
The rest is mine.
Tomato paste, did you add ketchup to the sauce?
You cannot add ketchup to tomato sauce.
No.
Look me in the eye, Internet. Look me in the eye.
No.
Whoever asked that question needs to really reconsider their life choices. You just asked if you could put ketchup on noodles. No, you may not, sir or madam.
The thing is, ketchup has a whole lot of extra shit in it that you don't need. The key thing being vinegar.
Yeah, the biggest thing is it's going to be weirdly vinegary and it's going to be too sweet. You're going to end up with this weird tomato candy noodle mash. It's not going to be what you want.
It's going to be far too sweet. That vinegar is actually going to affect the rest of the meal in a very negative way. It's going to fuck up your palate. So keep it simple. Keep it classic.
Also, frankly, too expensive. So, we hope you guys have enjoyed this week's Broke Eats Live. One of the cheapest, most delicious things you can learn to make for yourself. Also, considered classy.
That's right.
Not more of a second date. You don't want to do a first date because you don't want to splatter yourself. But second date, this stuff's amazing.
Exactly.
This makes it look like you might be a real adult.
And it's that easy to do. So, have fun, Internet. Thanks for tuning in. You can get this recipe on BrokeEats.com. Visit, post your own recipes.
Please post them. We love seeing recipes from you guys. It's really, really inspiring when we see it. So thank you so much for adding your own. Keep doing it.
And bookmark BrokeEats.com/live. Tune in next Tuesday. We're going to be doing another fun recipe with y'all. So,
boom! We love you, Internet!
Peace, Internet! This is my peace sign. Peace. So, no, really, what did Sean call?